talk to Harold the H. I can't do it today because of my throat. Harold the HP. I sound like a pussy. Harold the HP guy. He's going to tell us about the top 5 Ipswich pussies. I don't know what he's talking about, but everything he does is interesting, and he's from historyouthere.com. Yes, Harold, are you there? Come in there, pussy man.
Yeah, Danny, it's Harold here, and I'm talking about the top 4 greatest cats in Ipswich history today.
Right. Well, I've met a few cats in my time. I've been working in radio and TV, but go on. Tell us about this. You find stuff about cats. Fair dinkum.
Yeah, well, like you know, with Facebook, Life Australia again, we're being inundated with cat videos again, so I had to look at the top 4 greatest cats in our history here in Ipswich. So we'll start in 1946 with the invention of a new sport.
Right.
Now,
throwing cats.
Well, at least one part of it, people were setting new rules. It wasn't trying, but the new rules included moving onto the veranda of your house in the evening with a tin of marbles and a Shanghai or a slingshot. Now, this new sport was proving so popular that the Queensland Times ran a story on it under the headline, Catapulting Cats.
Are you serious? What were they, mate? Your phone's playing up a bit, but what are you saying? They got under the house, those old Queenslanders, with marbles and slingshots?
Yeah, they got on the back veranda of the house with marbles and slingshots, and were picking up the cats as they walk along the back fence.
Oh, I don't agree with that. And it was a sport.
It was horrible.
Oh, that's a disgrace. I'll even stick up for pussies with that. That's just not on.
Yeah, it is disgusting, but you got to admit you got to be proud of the cats, and that's why I put them in at number 4. It's not any one cat, but the many cats that managed to dodge the marbles that were so disgustingly fired at them 75 years ago.
Wow.
But for number 3, it was 80 to 90 years ago in the 1920s and 30s when Charlie Spinks was one of Australia's greatest early motorbike racers, winning big-time events both here and in the UK.
Yeah.
However, he was always being upstaged by a namesake, another Charlie Spinks, who also couldn't be beaten, and in 1928 won the Ipswich show yet again. He was so highly regarded that the Queensland Championship trophy was named the Charlie Spinks Cup.
Right.
Now, this Charlie Spinks, I'll put at number 3 on the list, he's the famous silver tabby Burmese cat called Charlie Spinks, who dominated Ipswich cat competition for over a decade.
That is so interesting because I know you got some more to go. We've got to keep moving. But
yeah.
Remember there was a murder in the Cat Society, and Wayne P. Roberts sends me off there, and I knock on the front door, and the lady gets fair up me through the window. Get out of here! So I went around the back and knocked because they thought she was the murderer. It was over at Windsor. But I think it ended up being the secretary, a bloke, didn't it? Him and his wife. But they killed someone, didn't they, Paul?
Yeah, and he went to jail for murder. That was in the 1970s, I think.
Yeah. No, Stern it up. I was at St Lawrence's then. 1980s, late 90s, early 90s. But
it was pretty close.
She was aggressive. She said, get out of here. Anyhow, keep going about your pussy.
Yeah, the cat world is a tough one, Danny, so you do need to be careful. But number 2 in the top 4 was another Ipswich show champion in the cat world, this time way back in 1906. This cat was owned by Ipswich's William Jackson, who at the time was in the middle of a 50-year career at Cribben Foot, and his father had actually served with the British Army in the Indian Mutiny.
Wow.
Now, the Governor of Queensland, Lord Chelmsford, was there to give a speech. The show was declared an unprecedented success and enjoyed record attendances. And Jackson's cat took out the coveted first prize before the Governor.
Wow.
But the only problem was that there was only one entry.
Oh.
So the number 2 is William Jackson's unnamed feline, who did a Stephen Bradbury, Danny, at the Ipswich show 150 years ago for winning when no one else showed up.
You're a funny bludger. And who's number 1?
Yeah, number 1. Now, we've got to go back to George Jackson's boarding house on Ipswich Street in Ipswich in 1888.
Right.
That's when Mary Ann Cantrell was working there as a domestic servant.
Right.
She had just finished dinner with her estranged husband, Richard Cantrell, when they stepped out to the woodpile where she handed him an axe. Now, Cantrell then viciously swung the axe and hit her in the head, splitting it wide open.
Oh.
It was awful scenes. The police were quickly called, but they couldn't find him anywhere. The probable murderer had got away. Now, what had happened, Cantrell had hidden himself underneath the building next door, and so avoided police that way. But in the process, he disturbed the cat having a sleep. In protest, the cat seated itself outside on the footpath and persistently stared at him. It didn't take his eyes off him until the police came to investigate what the cat had found. Cantrell was then dragged out by his ankles and handcuffed. He was convicted of attempted murder and sent to life in prison. His wife Mary Ann returned to England. But Danny, this cat hero
Yes.
remains unnamed, but it must surely be Ipswich's #1 greatest cat in history because it was directly responsible for the successful arrest of a would-be murderer 133 years ago.
I'm wondering if any of those cats, the famous show cats, have buried and got their own gravesite somewhere in the Ipswich Cemetery. Paul, there's one for you. Dan Kelly's
Well,
in there.
there's a challenge, Mr. Tully. We can go look for a buried cat.
I don't know what Danny's been smoking, but that's a tall one. Next you'll tell me Elvis Presley might be out there.
Well, he could be. You never know.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Well, mate, you're fantastic. I'm not making that up. Great. So you go to historyouthere.com. It'll be put up tomorrow on Facebook, won't it?
Absolutely. Tomorrow morning, in fact, you'll be able to see a photo of Charlie Spinks, that famous silver tabby Burmese cat. I've got a photo of him right there that you'll be able to see tomorrow morning.
Mate, thanks for the research. Thanks for the great yarns. And hopefully for Anzac Day, we'll get you on about that soldier you're going to get put on the Roll of Honour after 70 years.
Looking forward to it.
Good on you, mate. Have a good day.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Paul.
8:23.